All right, guys. So I've covered this attempted cancellation of Joe Rogan on Spotify heavily. The same reason I covered the attempted cancellation of Dave Chappelle on Netflix heavily. Because when these figures, right, like Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle, who have historically been comedians, when you cancel these guys, right, then anybody can be canceled. So it is so important that they do not let the mob win. Don't let the mob win. Okay, stand your ground. However, it looks like Joe Rogan is bending over to the mob, as the issue with Joe Rogan now is not necessarily about the whole alleged COVID-19 misinformation stuff. Now the issue is about racism. Okay, I talked about this yesterday, or maybe a couple days ago, in which there are now black artists that have come out and said, hey, we're gonna boycott Spotify because Joe Rogan said the N-word, and he made some like joke or told a story about the Planet of the Apes and being in a black neighborhood or something, right? And this has forced some conversations between Spotify and Joe Rogan's team internally, and it looks like what is happening here is Joe Rogan is slowly but surely bending to the mob, as Spotify is quietly deleting episodes of Joe Rogan. 70 or so have been deleted in the last few days, and that has caused people to have a whole lot of question marks in regards to what is actually going on between Spotify and Joe Rogan. And this is something that I warned you guys about initially when this thing happened. I said, if all these artists start coming out here and boycotting Spotify, saying they want to take their music off because of Joe Rogan, Spotify is probably going to fold. Right? But if it remained just Neil Young, they weren't going to do anything. However, I think that the pressure is getting a little bit too much for Spotify and Joe Rogan, which is why you're saying this. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll the clip of Joe Rogan apologizing to the mob. Take a look.
Whenever you're in a situation where you have to say, I'm not racist, you fucked up. And I clearly have fucked up. And that's my intention to express myself in this video, to say there's nothing I can do to take that back. I wish I could. Obviously, that's not possible. I do hope that, if anything, that this can be a teachable moment. Because I never thought it would ever be taken out of context and put in a video like that. And now that it is, holy shit, it looks bad. And it's part of also me doing this podcast for thousands of hours, thousands of episodes, over 12 years. I said a lot of fucking stupid shit, which is fine when you're talking about most things, but not when you're talking about race. And there's another clip that I have to address. There's a clip from 11 years ago. I was telling a story on the podcast about how me and my friend Tommy and his girlfriend, we got really high. We were in Philadelphia, and we went to go see Planet of the Apes. And we didn't know where we were going. We just got dropped off by a cab, and we got dropped off in this all-black neighborhood. And I was trying to make the story entertaining, and I said we got out, and it was like we were in Africa. It's like we were in Planet of the Apes. I did not, nor would I ever say that black people are apes, but it sure fucking sounded like that. And I immediately afterwards said, that's a racist thing to say. Planet of the Apes wasn't even in Africa. I was just saying there's a lot of black people there. But then I went on to talk about what a positive experience it was and how much fun it was to go to see this movie in a black neighborhood. It wasn't a racist story, but it sounded terrible. And like I said, you can have clunky stories about anything, but not about race. And so I deleted that whole podcast, but obviously somebody made a clip out of it and taken out of context. It looks terrible, but it looks terrible even in context. It's a fucking idiotic thing to say. And I was just trying to be entertaining. I certainly wasn't trying to be racist. And I certainly would never want to offend someone for entertainment with something as stupid as racism. My hope is that, look, I can't go back in time and change what I've said. I wish I could. Obviously, that's not possible. But I do hope that this can be a teachable moment for anybody that doesn't realize how offensive that word can be coming out of a white person's mouth in context or out of context.
Bro, that was pathetic. Right? I'm sorry. That is pathetic, okay? Because I'm going to tell you something. I don't care how much you apologize. The mob will never forgive you, okay? The clip, the tweet that I got this video from, in the comment section, there are people saying, no, this is not enough. You still have to be canceled. You still need to be removed from Spotify. It doesn't matter if you apologize. So why the hell did you apologize for? Right? If Spotify made you apologize, if Spotify is the one that's making you delete episodes of your podcast, then leave. Right? Here's the thing. In some situations, right, I understand there's a power dynamic, right? Being a little guy on YouTube, right, you kind of need to blow up a bit, right? You need to get a substantial audience size before you can really start playing hardball, okay? There is a power dynamic, right? But with Spotify and Joe Rogan, again, you command hundreds of millions of listeners, okay? So you have enough money, you have enough clout, you have enough resources to where if you wanted to go independent, you probably could do that. And you probably will make just as much money, if not more, because you take the whole cut, right? You take everything that you make, and your presence and what you do is so popular that it wouldn't even matter, okay? So in a situation like this, you should have took the Dave Chappelle route and be like, no. I'm just going to stand firm on this. I don't care. I'm not going to apologize, right? Maybe Dave Chappelle gave like a small apology. I don't know. But I'm just saying, I'm sick and tired of hearing this stuff because even as a black person, I went back and listened to the whole context of that clip, the Planet of the Apes clip, right? And I was laughing low key, right? Because I'm like, the dude is trying to be a comedian, okay? The same way Dave Chappelle, when he says his jokes about trans people, he's trying to be a comedian. I mean, he's not necessarily trying to be offensive. He's just trying to be funny. He's trying to be entertaining, right? Each and every last one of us, right? We all got friends. Okay, and some of us, hopefully most of us have friends that aren't necessarily of the same race or skin color or culture of us, right? And sometimes in the course of having a conversation or joking around with your friends, you're going to say something that's going to sound really, really bad, right? It might sound racist for you to say, or you might make a joke that plays off of race, okay? But it's between you and your friends, right? You don't really mean any harm by it. It's just a way to laugh. Okay, that is the way I interpreted that Joe Rogan clip. I took no offense to it whatsoever, okay? And in my opinion, it's nothing wrong with that. I hate a world in which everybody's so uptight that they just can't take a step back and just laugh, okay? Because, I mean, that ain't the first time the hood has been compared to, the jungle, okay? I mean, 50 Cent compared himself to a silverback gorilla all the time, right? He was like, one of his lyrics was like, silverback gorilla in the concrete jungle. I'm the wildest around. You know how I get down. Right? I mean, dude's basically calling himself a monkey, right? A gorilla, an ape. That's what he's calling himself. That's what he's calling himself. So is he racist? Right? Is he a racist? Should he be canceled as well? Okay? Even though 50 Cent is uncancelable. Okay? That guy, you can't cancel him, right? He will not apologize. That dude is literally on a whole nother level, okay? Now, in regards to the whole N-word stuff, I mean, that is the most ridiculous, okay? Because the dude is obviously saying the word in a way in which he's trying to explain what somebody else was saying. He's not saying it in a way in which he's calling somebody the N-word. But even if he was calling somebody the N-word, I'm not necessarily sure if it'd be fair to cancel him for that, considering how people can just openly call white people racist slurs like Eric Adams and nobody says anything about that. Right? Think about this. Guys, we live in a time period where a podcaster uses the N-word in a context that's not hateful or derogatory. He's repeating what somebody else said, okay? And this gets major backlash. But we have a mayor, a actual elected official of a major U.S. city who called his colleagues, his white cop colleagues, C-words, okay? C-words, his own video, right? And nobody's outraged about that, right? The mob is not calling for him to resign, but they're calling for Spotify to take down a podcast host, okay? It's insane. It is insanity. It really is. Because if you want to play this game about the N-word, okay, and if any non-black person says it, regardless of the context, then we got to cancel a whole bunch of people. starting with left-wing progressives, TYT.
I apologize. I know these are like difficult words to hear, but words like you are why I lost my job. He only shot a run.
This or hear that. Okay, so they're like, all right, you cover that Jerry Rice look.
Whatever.
Oh, you're a
Doing fucking nothing and being a lazy.
They were lovers.
Yeah, so out of context, that sounds pretty bad, right? That sounds pretty bad. Should TYT be canceled? Should the woke mob be trying to cancel the progressives that have used this word? Okay? It doesn't matter how they use it. Doesn't matter the context in which they use it. They should just be canceled because they use the word, right? They use the word. Okay? That is the argument that they're giving about Joe Rogan, right? And if TYT should be canceled, if Joe Rogan should be canceled, then the big man, Joe Biden, he should be canceled as well.
We already have a mayor. We don't need any more big shots.
Yeah, so we're going to play this game, right, when it comes to trying to cancel people for using a word out of context. Even though I know that all of those guys, Joe Biden, TYT, they used the word in a context that wasn't derogatory, okay? They were telling a story. They were, repeating what somebody else said. Me personally, I wouldn't cancel them. But if y'all want to play that game in regards to canceling people over, just saying the word, just uttering the word, regardless of how they use it, then hey, you know what? There's a whole lot of people on the left that need to be canceled. But see, my real issue is the fact that there are people on the left that can openly use racial slurs, right? Anti-white racial slurs. And there's no punishment whatsoever, right? There's only punishment if you use a word or a slur that is offensive to non-white people, okay? But when it comes to white people, specifically the white man, it's open season all day, right? Almost as if these people don't really care about racism. What they really care about is their ability and their rights to be racist, right? And they want white folks to, hey, y'all have no ability to say anything racist whatsoever, but we'll be racist towards y'all all day long. Again, that's not how things should work, okay? You either can have all of it or you can have none of it, okay? But in regards to this whole Joe Rogan thing, you shouldn't apologize, man. You didn't have anything that you need to apologize for. You were making a joke. You're a comedian. You're going to say things that are going to be offensive to people, right? You were having a conversation. I think somebody I think the dude you're having a conversation with was half black, okay? And you also were using a word in a context that was not hateful or derogatory. So what are you apologizing for, man? What are you apologizing for? The best thing that you can do, right? I don't know if Joe is going to take my advice, right? He probably doesn't listen to my commentary. But if he is, the best thing that he can do is to take his own advice, which is don't bend towards the censorship even a little bit, because even if you do, they're going to keep going.
And you made a really good point. You said the thing is, if you censor yourself just 1%, you say, I'll just censor myself 1%. That's what they want. I'm going to make them happy. And then they're just going to keep moving it. They're just going to keep moving it, moving the goalposts and providing you with more money and giving you more things, but keep moving it in a certain direction. And if you keep giving into it, they're going to have a hold of you and they can control you.
Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a black conservative perspective. Peace.